Once again, it's the Klarque Garrison experience.
Watch this. Watch this.
Hey, so I want to talk about my first 5K run. It was 8 months ago. It was actually the East Lake Atlanta 5K, and I'd never run anything past 2 miles up to this point in my training, but I wanted to see where I was. I wanted to see if I could pull it off. I knew it was 3.1 miles, so it was a little further than I had ever gone up to that point. What the heck? Let's see what we can do. Now, mind you, I didn't know anything about how to get your bib. I didn't even know where you find the little safety pins to put them on. So, you know, I was a complete novice, but I just wanted to try it out. It was right down the street. So it was an easy race to sign up for. And I just wanted to test myself out. So I got there. One of the stupid things I did is I got there extremely too early. I was there before they even set up to issue your bibs and shirts and all this stuff. And by the way, this is the shirt we wore. Let me step back. This is my first ever, can you see it? My first ever shirt. Here's my bib. I actually put my bibs now, and I may not do this forever, but, you know, I got them like in a catalog. Well, that's not it. This is actually it. My first ever. Ta-da! 103. Sweet number 103. So I got there really early so I can figure out some things, and I was there way too early, but at least I could get some of my nerves out of the way, and I calmed down. And I picked up my bib finally, put it on, and kind of chilled. My wife was with me, so I got a chance to talk to her and tell her how nervous I was. She calmed me down. Then the race started. So I wanted to get in the back so I wouldn't embarrass myself. You know how that is, first race. Just in case I threw up on myself or something like that. So anyway, race starts. We go downhill first. Then it flattens out and starts to work its way up a hill, which was cool. I was kind of prepared for that. Then it took a little notch turn, which then was a loop around. And that was probably about, that wasn't even a mile in, which was scary now that I think about it. But that was the first time I started walking. Like, I found myself, like, stop. So I walked, and then I was, like, really embarrassed of myself that I actually walked in less than a mile. So much for training. But then I said, okay, I remembered that I should follow someone who's about my pace. So I picked out a person, I don't remember who, and I started following them. That was a little easier because then I didn't have to think so much and just follow that guy. And so we ran, got past the mile marker, thank God, about halfway in, and started going downhill really cool. So that helped because I could coast down. I run it totally different now, but then I kind of coasted down, and then we turned on right at mile 2. And this particular East Lake 5K went right through the East Lake golf course. So when we made that turn, grabbed some water, which desperately needed, made the turn, by the way, I have no idea what my time is, right? I totally didn't care. I just wanted to finish. Although, I take that back. I had it in my mind that I wanted to do at least 30 minutes. That was in my mind. Didn't turn out that way. Nevertheless, so we turned into the golf course, and now the hills start. I mean, this thing is undulating like nobody's business. And so I'm like, I don't even remember. I think it blanked out. I think I literally lost consciousness in that last mile. I do remember walking up the hills and kind of falling down the hills, walking up the hills and falling down the hills. And then I finally said, you know, enough is enough. Just give it everything you got. And I think we were about half a mile out. So I'm running, and it gets back to the starting point. And there's a track at my school, so we had to run around the track. Now, here's the really cool part. This is the only part of the race where people are, including my wife. So this is the only time that I got the energy of the crowd. So I realized, man, your crowd can really make the difference in your run. So we're running around the track one time, and then you come back into the finish line, and now I'm picking it up. Mind you, another reason to pick it up because there's this guy with a 2-stroller kind of push thing, and he's in front of me, and it's like way too embarrassing. So I'm giving it everything. I'm like, that guy is not going to beat me. I might suck, but that guy is not going to beat me. So I did pass him. I got in, crossed the finish line. I felt like it was such an accomplishment because that was my first 5K, and I made it. I didn't die, and I actually wrote down on my sheet what I ran. I ran a 34:33. So, obviously, that's not really good, but for your first, that's not bad, right? 34:33. I thought, you know, I hadn't really trained. I only trained 2 months. I didn't know what I was doing in the training, so I didn't know how to train. And this was, I didn't really know how to run the race. You know, you learn how to run a race. I didn't know any of that. I didn't have a watch. I didn't have music. I didn't have anything to tell me where I was, how far I had to go, or any strategy. I just kind of ran it. And so I'm really happy that I just finished. And that was my first 5K. I couldn't breathe at the end, but and it wasn't a medal. Obviously, a lot of 5Ks, you don't get medals, or as they call it, bling. But I got the really cool shirt. And I felt really good, and it was an accomplishment. So I tell you, if you haven't run a 5K and you're looking forward to, and I've met a lot of people now who are signed up for their first, man, just run it. Just, you know what? Don't have any expectations. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Just have fun. Enjoy the moment. You're going to get better. I promise you. You're going to look back 8 months, a year from then, and you're going to be like, wow, what was I doing? But your first one, you never forget. I will never forget my first 5K.